Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. So today we have got the following list of topics. So let's discuss. The first topic says about the law against hate speech. So recently we have seen that the Election Commission of India, in the Supreme Court has said that due to lack of specific law against hate speech and rumor mongering during polls, it has to resort to IPC and the Representation of the People's Act, that is the ROPA Act of 1950, to ensure that members of political parties do not make statements which can create disharmony in the society. So when I refer it towards the hate speech, तो hate speech क्या होता है? In general, it refers to words whose intent is to create hatred towards a particular group, and that group may be community, religion, or race. And this speech may or may not have meaning, but is likely to result in violence. So therefore, we could see that even the 267th report of the Law Commission of India has declared hate speech as an incitement towards an hatred against a group of persons in terms of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religious beliefs, and other areas. So one of the greatest challenges is not to exercise the principle of autonomy and free speech principles that are detrimental to any society. So today if I see, आज अगर हम लोग देखें कि in our constitution, what the constitution gives us in terms of speech. See, free speech is very much necessary to promote a plurality of opinions, whereas hate speech becomes an exception to Article 19(1)(a), which says about freedom of speech and expression. And why there is a growing tendency of hate speeches? The major reasons being the feeling of superiority, the stubborn attitudes of the particular ideology of the political parties. So in every respective sense, today we see that persons directly consider some other class or groups inferior to them, and as such cannot have the same rights as them, for which the hate speech directly monger around every day. And there is no curbing action that has been framed, and there is no punishments of such which can directly say about the curbing of hate speeches, because the categorization was not proper. आज अगर मैं legal positions देखूं hate speech का, if I say about section 153A and 153B of the IPC, what it does, it punishes the acts that cause enmity and hatred between two groups. लेकिन hate speech के बारे में यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं बोला. If I say about section 295A of the IPC, it deals with punishing acts which deliberately or with malicious intention outrage the religious feelings of a class or persons. So even in various other groups such as section 505, 5052, where the publication and circulation of content which may cause ill will or hatred between different groups is an offense. लेकिन कहीं भी clear cut speech के बारे में नहीं बोला गया, hate speech के बारे में. Though in the Representation of the People's Act of 1950 and 51, we can see about the section 8, which prevents a person convicted of the illegal use of the freedom of speech from contesting an election. Also, the section 123 of the RPA, it bars the promotion of animosity on the grounds of race, religion, community, etc. So therefore, we can see that बहुत ज़्यादा कमेटी ने, बहुत सारे कमेटी ने suggestions दिया था IPC को change कर देगा. Okay, about going for the proposed inserting section 153C and 505A. तो first था इसका विश्वनाथन कमेटी 2019 में आया था. It says about inserting section 153C and section 505A in the IPC for incitement to commit an offense on grounds of religion, race, sex, or something. And also is going for such number of things, punishment up to 2 years and a fine of ₹5,000. Also, a commission directly came around in Bazar committee, which in 2014, which proposed an amendment to the 153C of the IPC, where he have directly said about the punishable by 3 years or fine or both. Even there are various number of cases in the Supreme Court related to hate speech. So one of the familiar case is the Shreya Singhal versus Union of India. एक बहुत popular case है, Shreya Singhal versus Union of India. This Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, the issues were raised about section 66A of the IT Act of 2000, where the court differentiated between discussion, advocacy, and incitement, and held that the first two were the essence of the Article 19, that is the freedom of speech and expression. Also a case associated with Orup Bhuyan versus State of Assam. And here the court directly held that a mere act cannot be punished unless an individual resorted to violence or inciting any other persons to violence. इसके ऊपर भी और एक केस है एस रंगराजन वर्सेस पी जगजीवन राम, बहुत फेमिलियर केस है. And in this case, the court held that the freedom of expression cannot be suppressed unless the situation so created is dangerous. So therefore, today we see that even Election Commission feels about that there is no specific law against the hate speech. It only says about the offenses. So किस तरह का speech, किस तरह का freedom of speech रहने से ऐसा नहीं है कि सब directly कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं. तो which are the speech that needs to be regulated, उसके लिए एक law बनाई. So therefore, today if I see about the most efficient way to dilute the hatred is by means of education. The education system has a prominent role to play in promoting and understanding the compassion with the others. Even fight against hate speech cannot be isolated. It should be discussed on a wider platform such as United Nations. And cases of hate speech can be addressed through alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. Also, the public authorities must be held accountable for the dereliction of the duty of care and also for non-compliance with this court's orders by not taking action to prevent the vigilante groups from inciting communal disharmony as well as spreading hate against the citizens of the country and taking the law into their own hands. Therefore, we need to go for a proper regulation on this hate speech. तो यही बोला गया है इलेक्शन कमीशन के द्वारा, कहां पे? सुप्रीम कोर्ट में. ओके, चलिए नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं. डोलो स्कैंडल. ये तो हम लोग को पता ही है कि लाइक ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड व्हेन द होल पेंडेमिक वाज डायरेक्टली गोइंग ऑन, राइट फ्रॉम 2020 टू अराउंड 2021. ओके, 2022 में इतना भी नहीं था, लेकिन ये 2 साल, ये 2020 है पूरा और 2021. ओके, तो ये पूरा साल हम लोग का 2 साल डायरेक्टली कोविड पेंडेमिक ने पूरा हम लोग का खा गया था, पूरा बर्बाद हो गया था. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे एक स्कैंडल आता है अबाउट द डोलो 650. तो यहाँ पे क्या है कि लाइक रिसेंटली दैट इज द IT डिपार्टमेंट, ओके, दैट इज द CBDT. Okay, so the CBDT, okay, that is the Central Board of Direct Taxes, it accused the makers of the widely known Dolo 650, okay, medicine tablet of indulging in some number of unethical practices and distributing freebies of around 1,000 crores to doctors and medical professionals in exchange for promotion products made by the pharmaceutical groups. And the claims directly came after this income tax department directly raided some around 36 premises of the Bengaluru-based Micro Labs Limited across 9 states. And after the action against the drug maker, the Central Board of Direct Taxes said in a statement that the department seized unaccounted cash of rupees 1.20 crore and gold and diamond jewelry of around 1.40 crore. So this CBDT is what? It is the administrative body of the IT department, income tax department. And during the course of the search operation, substantial incriminating evidence in the form of documents and digital data has been found and seized. So the CBDT directly alleged this group that they are directly going in from freebies included. This freebie directly includes cash money. It includes the travel expenses and any form of perquisites and gifts to doctors and medical professionals for promoting the group's product under the heads promotion and propaganda seminars and symposiums. And the evidence indicates that the group has adopted some of the unethical practices to promote its product or brands. And the quantum of such freebies detected is estimated to be around 1,000 crore. So simple. तो ये दोनों 650 का जो इशू है, अभी हम लोग पैरासिटामोल तो हम लोग सब जानते हैं, ठीक है, लेकिन जब हम लोग ब्रांड पे आते हैं डोलो 650, ओके, तो हम लोग का असली में क्या है? पैरासिटामोल है, जो हम लोग सब खाते हैं, लेकिन डोलो 650 बहुत फेमस हो गया. सो डोलो 650 इज व्हाट? इट इज एन एनाल्जेसिक, दैट इज पेन किलर एंड आल्सो एंटीपायरेटिक, मींस फीवर रिड्यूसिंग. तो ये दो काम करता है. एक काम क्या है? एक काम है इसका एनाल्जेसिक, ANALGESIT, एनाल्जेसिक मतलब क्या है? पेन किलर। और एंटीपायरेटिक, ANTIPYRATIC, एंटीपायरेटिक, ये क्या है? फीवर रिड्यूसिंग। और ये टैबलेट क्या है? ऑरल टैबलेट्स, which has been used extensively, that is prescribed by doctors and medical shop owners for coronavirus patients to reduce pain and fever, and the common symptoms which experienced by those infected. So therefore they have, यहाँ पे क्या बोला गया है कि like during the time period of this quarter of second quarter of 2020 and 2021, इस बीच में द दोलो 650 इन लोग का रेवेन्यू कितना बढ़ गया था पता है? The revenue directly went from 289.6%, इतना बढ़ गया। सोच लो, क्योंकि हम लोग और एक मेडिसिन जानते हैं, उसका नाम है क्रोसिन, और क्रोसिन किसका कितना है? 500 mg का आता है। तो 500 mg तक तो गवर्नमेंट रेस्ट्रिक्शन कर देता है, लेकिन उसके बाद उसके ऊपर सपोजली दिस इज 650, तो 650 में गवर्नमेंट रेस्ट्रिक्शंस नहीं लगा पाता है, बिकॉज देयर इज नो सच नंबर ऑफ रेगुलेशंस। तो इसीलिए इन लोग को मौका मिल गया कि सिंस रेगुलेशन नहीं है तो इसका मास स्केल सेल कीजिए। तो वो लोग खुद से अपना डिसाइड कर दिया प्राइसेस, एंड दे डायरेक्टली वेंट फॉर सेलिंग अ ह्यूज नंबर ऑफ दिस डोलो 6। ठीक है, और गवर्नमेंट इसको रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं भी लगा सकते, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट के पास वैसा कुछ रेगुलेशंस है नहीं टू कंट्रोल द रेगुलेशंस दैट इज गोइंग अबव द 500 mg. So the makers of this Dolo 650 distributed this hoping 1,000 crore to all these medical practitioners, and thereby increasing the revenue by around 289.6%. ये बहुत बड़ा ना लोचा हो गया, बहुत बड़ा एक करप्शन स्ट्रेटेजी। So therefore we could see that यहाँ पे जितना ये लोग टैक्स पे करना चाहिए था, the quantum of tax that is sought to be evaded through such means of corruption is around rupees 300 crore. इतना टैक्स ये लोग इवेड किए। So therefore यहाँ पे ये केस चल रहा है, that is the violation of the provisions of tax deduction. Okay, तो आईटी एक्ट के तहत इन लोग को सुनवाई किया जाएगा। ठीक है, तो अभी ये केस चल रहा है। तो therefore we can see about the scandal that is directly getting prominence, okay, in this area. तो अभी ये केस चल रहा है, अभी इसका कोई फैसला नहीं आया है। ओके, अभी अप्रूव होना बाकी है, लेकिन यू शुड नो अबाउट द केस कि क्या हुआ था एक्चुअली। ओके, सो दिस वाज द रेस्पेक्टिव एनालिसिस ऑफ दोलो स्कैंडल। नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं, न्यू रेगुलेशंस फॉर मेडिकल डिवाइसेस। ओके, सो इफ आई से अबाउट द मेडिकल डिवाइसेस, तो हम लोग का मेडिकल डिवाइसेस को रेगुलेट करने के लिए एक ड्राफ्ट नेशनल पॉलिसी है। ओके, ड्राफ्ट नेशनल मेडिकल डिवाइसेस पॉलिसी। ओके, ड्राफ्ट इसको बोलते हैं हम लोग DNMD पॉलिसी 2022। क्या है? ड्राफ्ट नेशनल मेडिकल डिवाइसेस पॉलिसी 2022। ओके, सो यहां पे हम लोग का क्या है? ये कौन से ये में आता है? डायरेक्टली इट्स कमिंग अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ केमिकल्स एंड फर्टिलाइजर्स, who directly went for such number of drafts. So recently we can see about this department of pharmaceuticals has implemented such number of draft. तो ये ड्राफ्ट क्यों चाहिए हम लोग? Because today if you see that this draft directly regulates and streamlines the harmonization with the global standards. किस तरह का फार्मास्यूटिक्स मेडिकल डिवाइसेस हम लोग बना रहे हैं, तो इसका रेगुलेशंस डायरेक्टली ये करते हैं, तो कि ताकि ये डायरेक्टली हम लोग ग्लोबल एटमॉस्फेयर में ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड्स के हिसाब से हम लोग कुछ बना सकते हैं। ऑल्सो इट बिल्ड कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल डेवलपमेंट होता है। इट डायरेक्टली फैसिलिटेट्स R&D एंड इनोवेशन। ओके, यहाँ पे ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट होता है, बिकॉज अगर यहाँ पे R&D करेंगे तो यहाँ पे ऑब्वियसली एजुकेशन लेवल बढ़ेंगे। ओके, वेरियस स्टेक होल्डर्स विल बी इन्वॉल्व। ओके, ऑल्सो वेरियस नंबर ऑफ स्किल्स विल बी इन्वॉल्व। तो ये होता है। उसके बाद दे डायरेक्टली क्रिएट्स एन अवेयरनेस क्रिएशन एंड ऑल्सो brand positioning, because we can see that in creating awareness and positioning India as a hub for manufacturing and medical devices as a part of the Make in India campaign as well as the Make for the World initiative. Make in India but make for the world, and इसीलिए हम लोग को क्या बोलते हैं? We are the highest pharmaceutical hub of the whole world. तो this respective policy, तो यहां पे बोला गया है कि set up new regulators for medical devices. क्यों? Because we have got various number of challenges associated with this sectors. Because अगर हम लोग issues देखें, the key challenges in this manufacturing medical devices in India is including the lack of adequate infrastructure and logistics. हम लोग के पास उस तरह का infrastructure और logistics नहीं है so as to compete with the international market. Also, the concentrated supply chains as well as the high cost of finance is another factors which directly slows down the regulation, which directly slows down the manufacturing of these medical devices. because the government is trying to simplify regulations and paperwork, but the landscape is still complex, which is marked by many high-level government bodies at the state as well as central levels. Also, today we see that India's per capita expenditure on health कितना होता है? Hardly around 1.35%. इतना ही expenditure है GDP का हम लोग from the respective budget. हम लोग बस इतना ही लेते हैं 1.35%. तो ये हम लोग का per capita expenditure है on health sector. तो इतना अगर रहेंगे तो हम लोग कितना इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, कितना हम लोग सोचेंगे about this regulations. So today this whole blend of engineering and medicine, of innovation, of going in for R&D, this needs some of the dedicated mechanisms so as that we can produce a good number of medical devices which can be competed even with the global standards. तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे बोला गया है about a new regulated body for directly going in for medical devices. So this sector requires various spatial coordination and communication among industries as well as stakeholders. And medical devices companies should develop India as a manufacturing hub for domestic and international markets. And the focus should be on enhancing the competency of this Indian medical devices sector through skilling, upskilling, reskilling, and also alignment with the medical and technological advancements. And the target should also expand access and opportunities through collaborative policy supports. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है हम लोग का इस कैटेगरी में. ओके, तो यहाँ पे वही सब बोला गया है. नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं. मॉस्को ट्रेडिंग इन इंडियन रुपी. छोटा सा न्यूज है. मॉस्को एक्सचेंज क्या है? मॉस्को एक्सचेंज इज द एक्सचेंज ऑफ दिस कंट्री. तो मॉस्को एक्सचेंज जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं MOEX. ओके, और यू कैन सी अबाउट MIMM. ओके, MMIS. ओके, तो दिस Moscow exchange is Russia's largest exchange, operating the country's only multifunctional trading platforms for equities, bonds, derivatives, currencies, money market instruments, and commodities. Okay, so you can see Russia is actively shifting its trade out of dollars and euros in the currencies what is regarded as friendly currencies. So today we could see this Moscow exchange. They are working on a plan to launch trading in Indian rupee, but there are certain obstacle on the part of the Indian central bank. Okay, to directly go for such number of exchanges. Okay, because today if you see that the exchange of Moscow, that is the ruble exchange. Okay, यहाँ पे उनका currency क्या है? Ruble है. So the exchange was also working to even launch trading in the United Arab Emirates का dirham, DIRHAM. Okay, so even they are very much ready to name the debt, but they are very much working actively because there is no particular clearance directly coming in from UAE. तो ये लोग क्या चाहते हैं? जो कि friendly nations है, such as India, UAE, okay, and who are directly supporting Russia in every front. So they wants to directly go for trading because ये लोग क्या करना चाहते हैं? They wants to go for less reliance in the Western currencies, because the Western currencies, the European nations are directly fed Russia with various number of sanctions over Ukraine, and Russia is directly actively shifting its trade out of dollars and euros and into the currencies of what it regards as friendly currencies. So therefore friendly currencies मतलब ये हो गया रुपी हो गया, दिरहम हो गया, तो ये इसमें directly shift कर रहे हैं, and therefore Moscow is directly launching such number of trade in Indian rupee. But from our side this is directly not happening because the central bank is still in its respective preparatory phase to exchange and go for such number of exchanges. Okay, तो ये अभी बात चल रहा है, लेकिन अभी रशिया की तरफ से ये ऑफर हम लोग का आया है. तो इन फ्यूचर मे बी रुपी विल गेट मोर एंड मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर इफ वी डायरेक्टली गेट इट्स रिकॉग्निशन इन द इंटरनेशनल मार्केट. ठीक है, तो अभी देखते हैं क्या होता है. ठीक है, छोटा सा न्यूज था. चलो नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं. नॉर्थ कोरिया न्यूक्लियर वेपन स्टेट. ओके, तो हमारा छोटा सा नन्हा सा बच्चा, ओके, दैट इज नॉर्थ कोरियाज लीडर. ओके, तो वी नो द लीडर्स नेम, दैट इज किम जोंग उन. ओके, तो किम जोंग उन डायरेक्टली क्या बोले अभी कि he has approved a law that gives it authority to launch a nuclear attack in advance. Okay, with the recently passed law, North Korea's status as a nuclear weapon state has become irreversible. तो ये लोग अभी ये मूड पे नहीं है कि हम लोग डीन्यूक्लियराइजेशन करें. ओके, तो ये क्या मूड में है? ये करेंगे हाँ न्यूक्लियराइजेशन करें. ओके, बिकॉज दे आर वेरी मच इन अ मूव टू डायरेक्टली गो फॉर अ फुल फ्लेजेड वॉर विद न्यूक्लियर. So North Korea even this year tested a number of weapons, including various number of ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. So according to this law, जो अभी भी पास हुआ है, among other things, the North may use nuclear weapons in the event of a nuclear or event for a non-nuclear attack by some of the hostile forces. Hostile मतलब क्या? वही मान लो US वाला ग्रुप. ओके, साउथ कोरिया भी है वहां पे, जापान भी है वहां पे. सो अगेंस्ट द हॉस्टाइल फोर्सेस, and the command structure of its nuclear forces will directly be in the hands of whom? The very premier of North Korea. Okay, so therefore today we know that North Korea has militarily advanced itself, and even Pyongyang in the recent period of time has conducted various number of nuclear tests to directly show its ability, and it has continued to advance even in military capability, which is directly a breach of the United Nations Security Council's norms. Okay, so therefore today if you see that following such number of categories of dialogues given by North Korea's leader, so today the whole country is directly making its focus towards North Korea, because this is very immaturity that today North Korea is directly showing. तो अगर वो नॉन न्यूक्लियर भी हो तब भी वो लोग न्यूक्लियर मार देंगे. तो दिस टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स डायरेक्टली मेक्स द वर्ल्ड मोर हॉस्टाइल एज कंपेयर टू पीसफुलनेस. तो आज सब जगह पे हम जहां पे पीसफुलनेस का बात बोल रहा हूं, लाइक टॉक्स के बाद बोल रहा हूं, ठीक है, एमिकेबल सॉल्यूशंस के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, ठीक है, एंगेजमेंट्स के बारे में सोच रहे हैं. टुडे दिस टाइप ऑफ पीपल, दिस टाइप ऑफ कंट्री इज डायरेक्टली थिंकिंग अबाउट ऑफ गोइंग फॉर वार व्हिच टेक्स द होल वर्ल्ड टू सम ऑफ द 20-30 इयर्स बैक. ठीक है, तो ये वाला चीज डायरेक्टली जा रहा है अबाउट द नॉर्थ कोरिया. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट पे आते हैं वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस. तो वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस में क्या है? तो रिसेंटली द इंडियन बजट फॉर 2022-23 इट वाज प्रपोज्ड टू डेवलप एंड मैन्युफैक्चर 400 न्यू वंदे भारत ट्रेन्स इन द नेक्स्ट 3 इयर्स. तो अभी सितंबर 30 में it will directly, PM Modi will directly flag off what? The Vande Bharat Express. Okay, so this 400 trains जो बोला गया है in this budget, okay, it will carry a potential investment of rupees around 50,000 crore. 50,000 crore. With the current Vande Bharats, they are being made at rupees 106 crore per train. Per train. Per train हम लोग का कितना जा रहा है? 106 crore. Okay, so therefore today if you see about the Vande Bharat trains, it is an indigenously designed and manufactured semi-high speed self-propelled train that is touted as the next major leap for the Indian Railways. The first Vande Bharat was manufactured by where? In the integral coach factory of Chennai under the Make in India program at a cost of around what? 100 crore. And the Vande Bharat was India's first attempt at adaptation of the train set technology compared with conventional system of passenger coaches hauled by separate locomotives. So today if you see, currently the 2 Vande Bharat expresses are operational, one between New Delhi and Varanasi and other between New Delhi to Katra. Okay, and the 400 new trains which is decided in this budget will have better efficiency, and railways are looking at making several of these train sets with aluminum instead of steel. Because if anything is made with the aluminum, that is the coaches or the trains are made with aluminum, it will make each train set around 40-80 tons lighter than the current Vande Bharat. And this will mean lower consumption of energy as well as better speed potential. ठीक है, तो therefore we could see that इसका वंदे भारत का स्पीड कितना है? We are taking a maximum speed of around 160 km per hour. Recently, the Indian Railways also directly tweeted the speed of 160 km per hour. उन्होंने दिखाया है करके, ठीक है, due to faster acceleration and deceleration, which directly reduces the journey time by around 25%. आज जितने भी है हम लोग का 2 ट्रेन है, ठीक है, उसके कंपैरिजन में आज 45% जर्नी टाइम रिड्यूस हो जाता है, लेकिन अगर नया वाले आ जाए तो उसमें 25% और रिड्यूस हो जाएगा. Also, it has got an intelligent braking system with power regeneration for better energy efficiency, thereby making it cost, energy, and even environmental efficiency. Okay, so the various significance of even this Vande Bharat, we can see that it will employ or it will directly generate employment of around to the tune of around 10,000 to 15,000 पोस्ट निकलेंगे. तो यहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन भी बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है. तो 10,000 15,000 हम लोग का क्या निकलेगा? पोस्ट निकलेगा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन. एंड ऑल्सो इट विल गिव अ बिग बूस्ट इन द सेक्टर ऑफ कंपोनेंट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, सप्लाईज एक्सेट्रा. एंड ऑल्सो जो लॉस मेकिंग इंडस्ट्री है, दैट इज द रेलवे इंडस्ट्री, हमेशा लॉस मेकिंग में रहता है. It will also improve the railway finances and operational efficiency. So therefore, Indian Railways is moving towards a new era of travel experience with a new number of trains directly coming into prominence. लेकिन यहाँ पे ध्यान क्या रखना है इंडियन रेलवेज को कि the timely execution of this ambitious projects And keeping in mind the demand for various classes of travel will go a long way in ensuring the success of this Vande Bharat projects. ठीक है, तो ये था अबाउट दिस वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस. लास्ट में आता है अबाउट द एडिटोरियल्स. तो यहाँ पे क्या बोला गया है? अबाउट द थिंग ऑफ वाटर क्राइसिस. तो ये तो एकदम बेसिक सा अभी हम लोग का एक प्रॉब्लम सा ही बन गया है. ठीक है, बिकॉज दिस इश्यूज टुडे वी कुड सी अबाउट द वाटर स्टार्वेशंस, वाटर स्ट्रेस इज वेरी मच ऑफ प्रिवेलेंट इन आवर कंट्री टुडे. बिकॉज अभी एक न्यू वाटर रिपोर्ट ऑफ द फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ द यूनाइटेड नेशंस, okay, it directly sounded a note of caution about the silent crisis of global dimension, because even the Niti Aayog report directly says about of composite water management index को 2018 में ये बोला था about the water crisis in the country with more than 600 million people facing acute water shortages. Okay, और यहाँ पे फिर से बोला गया था in 2019 in a very review that 12% of the large cities in the world rarely on this interbasin transfers. So today we have got various number of concerns about the rural-urban transfer of water in the issue of global concern. So this global concerns needs to be met because अभी हम लोग का यहाँ पे क्या है? Because today if you see that India is directly making or India is directly impending with various number of water stress. And water security being experienced in different, water scarcity is being experienced in different parts of the world also. So therefore, the composite water management is a must essentiality today in our country, because it is very much important to strive for a win-win situation where such a situation is possible through a host of activities, be it in the rural areas, be it in the urban areas. And a system perspective and a catchment scale approach based approach are necessary to bring reallocation of water, with various wilder discussions on development, fostering on rural-urban partnership, and adopting a various good number of integrated approach in water management. So India, though it is directly facing a good number of water crises, India should directly go for a good regulation on such number of water scenario. Because today if you see about the water scarcity, ये दो types का आता है. एक आता है physical water scarcity, एक आता है economic water scarcity. Physical water scarcity में क्या आता है? Physical scarcity is a result of regions demand outpacing the limited water resources found in that location. And economic water scarcity में क्या आता है? This kind of water scarcity primarily arises due to lack of water infrastructure in general or due to poor management of water resources. So even if I see about the water footprints, which measures about the amount of water used to produce each of the goods and services we use. Today, India's water footprint is around 980 cubic meters per capita, which ranks below the global average of around 1243 cubic meters. India का कितना है? 980 cubic meters. So India contributes roughly 12% of the world's total water footprint. So the effects are directly green, because today we see that because of this water scarcity, peoples are directly going in for forced migration, which may lead to regional or even domestic conflicts. Also, governments will be forced to choose between agricultural, industrial, municipal, or environmental interest. So today, in terms of impact on humanity, the water crisis is ranked as the third most important global risks. And inadequate sanitation is also a problem for many number of peoples, which directly leads to the exposure of various number of diseases. So India, though has got 4% of the world's fresh water, which has to cater around 17% of the world population. So therefore, today, though India is a major exporter of rice, which implies India is exporting millions of liters of water annually also. So even today, if you see that because of the greater production of rice, wheat, which is directly some of the water adverse crops, तो वो लोग को ज्यादा पानी चाहिए होता है. Okay, also sugarcane, which is also an other water guzzling crop in India. So India is directly flowing off with such number of producers, and इस producers से क्या हो रहा है? इस producers directly water ज्यादा use होता है. Because today, if the water scarcity will be practically seen in our country, we can directly say that 70% of the area which is under wheat cultivation, 60% of the area which is under rice cultivation will face some of the extreme levels of water scarcity. और अगर यहां पे वाटर स्कैर्सिटी हो गया, दैट मींस हम लोग का जो एक्सपोर्ट्स है आज वो डायरेक्टली कम हो जाएगा. एंड द एक्सपेक्टेड डिमांड of water is much more today because of the growing number of conditions. आज productivity ज्यादा हो रहा है. So therefore there are various ways to even prevent such number of water scarcity. तो यहाँ पे states को इकट्ठा आना पड़ेगा. India also needs to manage its international export of virtual water. Also यहाँ पे जो crop production है वो हम लोग को less intensive करवाना पड़ेगा. Okay. Also, we have to go for an emphasizement on the adoption of water efficient technologies, management systems, farmer education, and various number of advisory services to use water cautiously. So in every circumstances, today we need to control the water scarcity in every areas through better integrated management system, through various number of plannings. Okay. Also going on for some of the other guidelines which treat water as a critical component of infrastructure planning. तो ये सब हम लोग को करना पड़ेगा. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम ओनली वी कुड मेक द कंट्री गोइंग इनटू वाटर रिसर्जेंस अगेन. ठीक है. तो ये यहाँ पे अबाउट द होल यहाँ पे डिस्कस किया गया है अबाउट द वाटर क्राइसिस. ठीक है. तो अभी यहाँ पे हम लोग का मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति भी हम लोग ने बना दिया था. ओके. दैट इज डायरेक्टली कंसोलिडेटेड टू द फंक्शंस पर्टेनिंग टू वाटर मैनेजमेंट. ओके. सो उस मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति ने क्या अभियान लॉन्च किया था? जल शक्ति अभियान कैंपेन. Okay, so the major focus of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan campaign is what? Water conservation, rainwater harvesting, okay, borewell research, renovation of traditional and other water bodies, watershed development, intensive afforestation, okay, promotion of efficient water use for irrigation, okay, Krishi Vigyan Kendras for better choice of crops which are less water intensive, okay, even Atal Bhujan Yojana, okay, also the adoption of composite water management index. तो ये सब हम लोग ने किया है. इवन बहुत सारे स्टेट्स ने भी अपना अपना किया है. अबाउट इफ आई टॉक अबाउट राजस्थान, मुख्यमंत्री जल स्वलंबन अभियान which was launched in 2016 back then. Okay, Andhra Pradesh about Neeru Chetu program. ये नीरू चेटू प्रोग्राम क्या है? ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है? supposedly drought proofed and reduce economic inequalities through better water conservation and management practices. ठीक है. महाराष्ट्र में जल युग शिविर अभियान. ओके. तेलंगाना में मिशन ककतिया. ओके. ऑल्सो गुजरात में सुजलम सुफलम योजना. ओके. मध्य प्रदेश में कपिल धारा योजना. पंजाब में पानी बचाओ पैसा कमाओ. उत्तर प्रदेश में जखनी विलेज बुंदेलखंड में जहां पे फार्म पोन्स क्रिएट किया गया. सो इन एवरी रेस्पेक्टिव सर्कमस्टांसेस एवरी स्टेट इज डायरेक्टली कमिंग आउट. तो यहाँ पे जितने भी हम लोग का स्टेज है, मैं तो अभी बस 6-7 का नाम बोला हूं, लेकिन सब स्टेट्स नहीं किया. आउट ऑफ 28 स्टेट्स वी हैवंट सीन दैट ऑल द स्टेट्स आर डायरेक्टली कमिंग इनटू प्रोविडेंस. तो ये हम लोग को देखना पड़ेगा. तब जाके हम लोग अपना वाटर्स को बचा सकेंगे एंड वी कैन यूज इट फॉर इवन सम ऑफ द फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स. तो यहाँ यही सब बोला गया. ओके, दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे. यू हैव गॉट दिस रेस्पेक्टिव 5 नंबर ऑफ एमसीक्यूज. तो ये सॉल्व कर लेना. इसका आंसर टेलीग्राम चैनल में मिल जाएगा. हम लोग का टेलीग्राम चैनल नीचे है लिंक. You can directly join this Telegram channel from the respective link. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.